Coming up on Market Shares, the Supreme Court rules on Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs, the impact here at home and abroad.
And Warner Bros. Is opening the door for Paramount to make one final offer in the ongoing bidding war.
And it's green across the board following the Supreme Court's tariff announcement. Hold on to your wallets because Market Shares starts right now. Good afternoon and welcome into Market Shares. I'm Riley Underwood.
And I'm Tegan Brostrom. Markets closed just a few minutes ago, so let's take a look at how the major indexes closed out the week.
And they're all green right now.
Getting ready for St. Patrick's Day, Riley.
Great news for investors. Green, 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 all green across the board. And it's largely because of the rollback of some of the tariffs. The Supreme Court invalidated Trump's broad emergency tariff. So, of course, that makes goods cheaper to import. So investors are liking that, and stocks are all going up, it seems like.
Yeah, green across the board, like we've been saying, and things are going to be cheaper for consumers and looking good for investors as well.
And it's different than last week because last week we saw red across the board, largely because of those tech stocks. And now, even with the tech chips and other things, they're cheaper now to import. So goods are now looking better for investors. So stock market is going up. Let's take a look at our first market mover, New Balance. And, it's down right now just on the week, but there's a much broader picture because it is up over $2 in the past 2 weeks. New Balance, that's a lot because it's trading at just under $9. So overall, that's a big increase. New Balance sales grew 19% to $9.2 billion in 2025. That's the biggest growth in the shoe industry. For comparison, Nike actually went down in their sales.
That's huge. Nike is huge in the footwear company.
Right. And since 2020, New Balance has grown sales by a staggering 180%. This is something you may remember in middle school. If you were rocking New Balance, you may get poked fun at it for. Now it's the cool thing to do, to wear New Balance.
It's the dad shoe.
You see your favorite athletes rocking it. Now it's not just for the dads.
Exactly. Yeah, we have Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills quarterback. We're in the Bills land right now. He has a partnership with New Balance. So does Shohei Ohtani with the LA Dodgers. So great partnerships with athletes, and I think that's contributing to a lot of their success.
Jack Harlow, Kawhi Leonard, those are cool guys. Those are cool guys, and people are rocking the shoes.
Exactly. All right, well, moving next to Etsy, also green, following those indexes. And Etsy had quite a bit of success this past week, up 10% in the past 5 days. And that's mainly because eBay bought Etsy's Depop, which is a secondhand clothing brand. And Etsy bought Depop around 5 years ago as a way to kind of interact with younger users and younger customers. But they sold the company around on Wednesday for around $1.2 billion to eBay, excuse me. And, the company said that they really wanted to focus on their core marketplace. So they've since sold it, and that's helped them a lot this week.
Let's take a look at our third and final market mover. That's Live Nation. They're up almost 6% on the week, and that's because their annual revenues just passed $25 billion for the first time. Attendance for concerts continues to grow. They're pushing into the international market as well as here in the United States. Millions of tickets already being sold for early 2026 tours. I know A Boogie with the Hoodie is coming to Syracuse at the On Center next month. He was here 2 years ago. I went to that one. So a lot of people are going to that as well. But you've just seen, even with the court cases that's gone on, which some investors are still a little wishy-washy about, because that is going to progress in the court. So that could maybe move it lower later on. But right now it's green because people, just to put it frankly, are buying concert tickets.
Exactly. And a lot of people are a lot of artists are going on tour this summer. But it is a little surprising to see Live Nation doing so well because of Ticketmaster and all the, concerns and frustration people have with Ticketmaster. Noah Khan's 2026 tour tickets just came out a couple weeks ago, and a lot of people had trouble getting those tickets because of Ticketmaster. So it's kind of surprising to see Live Nation doing so well.
Are you going to that concert?
I didn't get tickets.
No tickets?
No tickets. I wasn't able to get tickets. The queues are so long, and there's a lot of glitches on the website sometimes, so I will be missing out on that one. What about you?
A Boogie?
No.
Oh. Oh, good.
Yeah,
oh, good.
No concerts for me this summer.
Well, the Supreme Court has ruled against President Donald Trump's use of tariffs that we talked about under the International Emergency Powers Act, which was used to collect billions of dollars in revenue.
In response, President Trump says he will sign an executive order imposing a new 10% global tariff. Our Ben Bassick is in Washington, D.C. with what this means for more than 1,000 companies seeking refunds. Ben?
Thank you. Great reporting, Ben, in Washington, D.C. U.S. growth slowed more than expected to close out 2025. This was due to the longest government shutdown in history, which impacted spending and investment. The cuts in federal spending due to the shutdown shaved off over 1 percentage point from last quarter. Consumers are also pulling back slightly on purchases.
GDP grew at a rate of just 1.4%, well below the Dow Jones estimate of 2.5% for the full 2025 year. The economy grew at a 2.2% pace, down from the 2.8% increase in 2024. Still, it was far from the worst-case scenario economists feared when President Trump unveiled his tariffs last spring.
Oil prices just jumped to their highest level in nearly 7 months. Brent crude, the global benchmark, rose nearly 2% to around $72 per barrel. U.S. oil rose to around $67 per barrel. This was the biggest single-day jump since October. This rise comes as tensions between the U.S. and Iran continue to flare. U.S. and Iranian envoys met in Geneva earlier this week for negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. Today, President Trump says he is considering limited military strikes to pressure Iran. The oil market's fear here is that a conflict could lead to a prolonged disruption of oil trade. Trump says he will make a decision in the next 10 to 15 days on whether to attack the Islamic Republic. Welcome back to Market Shares. Here in central New York, Micron is making headlines once again. The changes to the White Pine Commerce Center, which will eventually house Micron, are not hard to see. All right, thank you, Sheridan. The Warner Brothers acquisition is taking yet another turn. Netflix has granted a 7-day waiver to allow Warner Bros. To reopen deal talks with Paramount. Warner currently has an $83 billion pending deal with Netflix for its streaming and studio business. In response, Paramount offered the company's shareholders $30 per share. Warner now says that Paramount informed a board member that it will pay $31 per share if deal talks were to reopen. Since an original announcement, Netflix shares have fallen more than 30% and down 15% year to date. Investors are expressing concern that Netflix is pursuing Warner Brothers due to stalling engagement growth. Here was co-CEO Ted Sarandos' response.
We've been doing this for a long time. We have been incredibly disciplined buyers in our normal course of business, meaning we're pretty good at establishing what is the value for entertainment assets, audience relative to cost, all of those things, and remaining very disciplined in the process of doing that. So this shouldn't be any different than that.
Now Paramount has until February 23rd to present its best and final offer. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission is stepping in to stop what it is calling an onslaught of state-level regulation of prediction markets. CFTC Chairman Michael Selig posted on X that the agency has filed a friend of the court brief in support of Crypto.com in its battle with regulators in Nevada. This move is significant as it marks the first time the CFTC has taken sides in a fight between regulators and prediction markets. By intervening, Selig is arguing that prediction markets are federally regulated and not subject to state-level gambling laws. As states attempt to rein in these fast-growing platforms, the question is no longer whether these products lead to gambling, it's who gets to decide that question.
Sounds like quite a tricky question. And JP Morgan Chase hit back at President Trump's lawsuit against the company and its CEO, Jamie Dimon. JP Morgan is filing to move the case from Florida State Court to the federal court. They argue that the president's initial lawsuit fraudulently included Dimon.
Lawyers argue that the lawsuit was filed to Florida's Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act, which does not apply to federally regulated bank officers. By including Dimon, Trump's lawyers tried to keep the suit in state court. JP Morgan's lawyers are also pushing back on Trump's allegations that the bank dropped him as over political reasons as a customer. And coming up on Market Shares, tensions rise as Stephen Colbert and the Federal Communications Commission clash over an equal time rule. What both sides are saying when we return. I know when you just told me that, I was like, what? This is like their biggest thing and they're selling it off, but over $1.3 billion. That's a
big
lot
sell.
of money. I can almost, if someone's offering me $1.3 billion for something, I can understand.
Exactly, and a good opportunity for them to focus on other aspects of their brand, which is a very big and all-encompassing brand on pet care and food and snacks. I mean, they kind of have it all.
I didn't really even know they did pet care. I knew about the coffee, but I think that's going to be their #1 seller now.
Exactly, and so it'll be interesting to see if that goes through, and their loss on ice cream kind of is a bummer.
Yeah. And for the first time, Amazon has dethroned Walmart as the top seller of the company with the largest annual revenue. Yesterday, Walmart reported an annual revenue of around $713 billion, shy of Amazon's $716 billion result. It's more than just Amazon's speedy delivery, too, that led to these results. The company's cloud computing, advertising, and seller services also fueled the sales. On the other hand, 90% of Walmart's sales came from its physical store and websites. Walmart has been trying to follow Amazon's playbook and position itself as a tech company. Walmart moved from the New York Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ back in December. The company also struck a deal with ChatGPT and Gemini earlier this month. Walmart's sales grew 4.6% last quarter, so it'll be interesting to see which company wins this AI battle. And can the federal government fine a late-night host for a political joke? It's a question making the headlines, and it brings the FCC, Stephen Colbert, and even Jimmy Fallon to the stage. Our analyst Vanessa Shimoni has more. Vanessa, what do you got? Welcome back to Market Shares. A yearly sweet treat has returned to McDonald's, and this year you don't have to feel bad about indulging. At Syracuse area locations, 25 cents from each Shamrock Shake ordered will go to the Ronald McDonald House of Central New York.
And the nonprofit assists families of children receiving medical treatment at nearby hospitals. In 2025, Shamrock Shake sales helped serve more than 950 family members that stayed at the house. The shake is typically available through St. Patrick's Day. And we have a little surprise, Riley.
Yes.
It's Shamrock Shake for us to try out and test.
Courtesy of our producer, Mags Bellotti. Thank you for getting us these. And why don't we crack open the bag and see what's inside.
I have to say, this is my first ever Shamrock Shake.
Oh, you're in for a great surprise.
It sounds like, it looks
Mine
like you
already has the straw in it because before the show, I had to give
a little sneak peek.
During the commercial break. Yeah, right.
Well, cheers. Oh.
It's pretty good.
It is good.
I get the hype. Do you get the hype?
Yeah, I totally get the hype, and it makes me feel even better that it's supporting, the Ronald McDonald House, which is just right down the road from Syracuse University.
So for your first time, I love it. I mean, mint chocolate chip ice cream is my favorite ice cream. That's my #1 every time I get ice cream. Now you're talking about you love Thin Mints earlier.
Yeah, I do love a good Thin Mint.
So how does this compare? What's your review? I want to hear it.
It's really good. I think it's more minty than I thought it would be. With a mint chocolate chip and a York peppermint patty, you kind of have that mint and chocolate. So I'm not getting the chocolate here, but the mint is really good. Nice and fresh.
Gets you in the mood. Mm-hmm. Gets you in the mood for
ready for
St.
some St. Patrick's Day celebrations. Yeah.
Some Green Beer Sunday activity.
Exactly. And Orange Crate is doing Green Beer Saturday, so it's a kind of battle of green beers.
Okay. Well, hopefully we might. Don't be on the lookout. That's all the time we have for you on this episode of Market Shares. Be sure to follow us on our social medias at CitrusTV News and like us on Facebook. I'm Riley Underwood.
And I'm Tegan Prostrom. Have a great night and an early St. Patrick's Day, Syracuse. Cheers.